Hello and welcome back to today's show, Radiant Realizations with Namrata. Today, I have an awesome guest with me, Mauli, and she is a designer by education, a vocalist at heart, practitioner of yoga for life. She's trained international yoga teacher and a conception and a pregnancy coach. So today, Molly and we are going to discuss about the role of yoga in pregnancy towards health and well-being of a mother and unborn baby. Just let's welcome Molly.
Thank you.
Molly, I am super excited to have you today.
Same here, Namrata. Thank you. Thank you for having me over the show.
Molly, you've doing a lot of work around yoga, prenatal, and also supporting women during their pregnancy. So if you can tell me, how did you started your journey and what got you hooked to share this knowledge with the wider world?
By education, I am a design practitioner. I used to design people's houses and offices and hospitals, and designing spaces was my profession. Yoga is something I used to do for myself, and then I just feel I am guided into this. In 2011, I started teaching yoga, while my practices had started long back in 1999 or 98 sometime. So for all these years, I was practicing for myself. It's much later when I started teaching, and then I understood the thing about teaching, that your own practice versus when you teach somebody is a very different ballgame. That's where my in-depth study into the shastras, into the nitty-gritties of yoga started. Pregnancy is something that I am blessed by the divine to be guided that way. But I love working with pregnant women, women who approach me for conception, for children yoga, the in utero baby, the unborn baby. That is my favorite area of work.
What are the benefits of doing yoga, especially during this pregnancy phase?
When we talk about yoga, yoga is a very holistic, integrative practice. And so we all know that it just doesn't deal with only the physical aspect of our being, but overall well-being is taken care of your body, of your mind, of your breath, and spiritual practices also. But let us start understanding step by step that when we talk about the physical benefits of yoga, a woman who is practicing yoga asanas and pranayama during her pregnancy, you will see that there are some very common symptoms of pregnancy that we are aware of in terms of nausea or water retention. Uh, they have this sudden cramping that happens sometimes, or they go into certain conditions which are pregnancy specific. Maybe we can talk about as we go along. But a lot of these things are taken care of just by doing the asana and pranayama practice. So it gives them a lot of flexibility. And see, in today's day and time, if you see our lifestyles and the way we sit or move or hold ourselves, we also need to prepare ourselves for the natural delivery, labor. So these are a lot of things that we address during pregnancy.
How is prenatal yoga different? How is prenatal yoga different from regular yoga classes?
Okay. See, while we say that, okay, we are working on their flexibility and strength and emotional well-being, you can say that even in a normal class, the same thing happens. We all want emotional stability, balance, flexibility, strength, all of these things. But during pregnancy, and whoever has studied, that's where we also educate the girls or women who come of how the whole physiology completely changes during pregnancy. The body goes through a lot of changes, and to respect them, understand them, and accommodate them, pregnancy yoga practices are quite modified. So there are a lot of contraindications, a lot of no-nos that you do during pregnancy, and a lot of special practices that pitch in, which we don't do for a normal person. So it's a very different ballgame. We work, especially, we have to work on the lower body, the pelvic area, to facilitate or make the mother ready towards the childbirth. At the same time, they are going to be breastfeeding the baby. So we also need to prepare and strengthen the upper part of the body. Otherwise, later, post delivery, they have a severe complaint of back pain, neck pain, upper back stiffness, shoulder issues. So unless you prepared it earlier, you will have some symptoms of body stiffness, which is all a hormonal thing. Lot of hormones keep dancing around, I would say, in pregnancy. And to deal with that, they have to be prepared specially. Another very special thing that I feel is that in pregnancy, we also focus a lot towards knowledge based and spiritual practices, or practices where we are involving a whole brain activation, because that whatever the mother is feeling, or the neurochemicals that she is releasing in the bloodstream, they are going to the baby. We are making an individual. It's a very special thing. So yes, it's very different.
There are a few no-nos that needs to be followed while practicing yoga during pregnancy. So what would be the safety considerations that women are expected to take into consideration for each trimester?
Well, the first trimester, the first 3 months, when they know from conception to first 3 months, 12 weeks, they're supposed to go very, very gentle on the physical exercises or practices. And see, there is this thing that, we have this myth in this: no pain, no gain. You have to like exercise strong. Oh, pregnancy. So I am not sick. I am pregnant. I can do everything. Yes, accepted. Pregnancy is not a disease, but there is a wisdom about it, that what changes in the body, how the body operates. So when required to slow down, it is just wise to slow down. Also, when we work in pregnancy, the safety point comes at the foremost. While we were talking about the strength and flexibility and emotional balance, and all of this, yes, but the safety of the mother to be and the baby inside, it's so fragile. That comes foremost. अगर दो चीजें कम कर लिया तो कुछ नहीं हो जाएगा pregnancy में. But stay safe is what we say. Lot of jumping or jerky based practices, that is something that they should be avoiding. And prompt impromptu a movement which is kind of a jerky movement, or immediate shifts from the plane of standing to sitting or lying to standing, that should be avoided. Maybe we'll get into the physiology as we go along, but just to give you an idea that our heart pumps x amount of blood every time it pumps and circulates it through the body. In pregnancy, there is a 40% increase in the blood volume. The heart is working 1.5 times its capacity. Therefore, the kidney is also working 1.5 times its capacity. There are hormones specially released only during pregnancy, so the joints are also a little lax. This is not a time to challenge yourself. This is actually a very, very beautiful time when you connect to your whole being. It's a growth phase. It's not only the child that is getting made inside the uterus, the mother is also being born, and that is the focus rather than the physical fitness and all.
This is a great insight over this. Okay, so taking this forward, in in your consultation with your clients and all, what specific yoga style or practices that you tell them to practice more, and what they should consciously avoid?
See, consciously avoid, like I said, the first trimester, no rigorous physical exercise. Second trimester is the best time to explore the full range. Again, in the third trimester, seventh, eighth, and ninth month, where the baby has grown, the weight is increasing, it is again a time to slow down and introspect. So do's and don'ts keep changing. In the first trimester, it is a different set of do's and don'ts where, okay, like I told you, बहुत ज़्यादा physical exercise नहीं करना है. Then during the 8th month, again, we become, see, there are chances at times where there could be an early onset of labor, which we don't want. But these days, like, because I'm seeing the statistics and especially our urban population, our lifestyles, you might have seen there is increasing ratio of preterm labor or pregnancies where the babies are born before the due date. And now even in the stores where we get their little tiny clothes and things for stuff for baby, there is a whole section of preterm babies, the preemies. It's increasing. So you need to know when to stop, when to take care. Like 8th month is the month where you really take care and not push anything into yourself which is pushing you towards the early labor. Whether it is putting pressure on the pelvic floor, undue pressure or unguided pressure, or whether it is a emotional stress. Sometimes it is not the body but the emotions. Or sometimes if they have not practiced correctly in the second trimester, you might have heard that the BP shoots immediately, suddenly, or the blood sugar levels change. Some women get thyroid. So all of this can be avoided if done practices. But like you asked, the second trimester I would say is the best time where you could explore a lot of things. Chanting is something in my practice that I increased tremendously in pregnancy. So there are specific chants that we do. I am trained as a Krishna Yajurveda teacher. So we chant as a Vedic chant. We pick chants from the Yajurveda and the Rig Veda and do a lot of chants. The power of sound and power of chanting could be another podcast in itself, but that's very, very powerful, transformative. That's what we focus on.
Yes, I will definitely have a discussion with you on that. Okay. So taking this forward now, Molly, so these days, like you said about the urban lifestyle, a lot of women are working in a corporate, so the stress level in corporate are altogether different. Then they'll have to look at household chores to some extent if they do not have support staff. So this all leads to stress, anxiety. So how do they manage multiple activities? Though we are multitasker as a woman, but don't you think this becomes too much during pregnancies?
It does become too much if you wake up at the last moment. When I work with pregnant women, what I tell everyone is that you have to start preparing 1 year before you conceive. That's the minimum, I'm saying, minimum 1 year. Once you conceive, once you are pregnant, lot of contraindications come in, lot of limitations come in, and now already whatever you're doing, thinking, feeling is going to the baby. So uska ek alag se pressure hai. Yeah, I have to be happy all the time. That also is a stressor for some women. So prepare early on. So I would say, see, the pregnancy is a partnership with the unborn baby, the mother, and the father to be. So before you plan a child, the husband wife have to be on the same team. They have to be talking and discussing and planning about how things will change and how they are going to manage. That is one. And for the woman herself, the mother to be, there are so many techniques of managing the emotions or managing stress. Stress mostly comes about by emotional uh, imbalance in our urban setup. We are still not so much hard working physically, and yet both need to be, the body needs to be strong, healthy, that vessel is ready to receive the soul. तो वो तैयारी पहले करना पड़ता है. Once the emotional management is learned, then it either other say throw what you can. The woman is strong, stable, and grounded. Bring it on, boss. I am balanced. That's the kind of preparation that should be done before you are pregnant. Sometimes pregnancies are accidental. So it's never too late. Whenever you realize, just start working primarily on your own self. When we say pregnancy, they just think that pregnancy is about कि body को थोड़ा सा flexible रखो so that you don't have cramps and joint pains and all, and the baby's health. No, the mother's emotional health is the prime thing. If she is balanced emotionally and happy mentally, everything will go very nice. But preparing a support system, especially I have seen in my practice, pregnancy तो निकल जाएगा. They will manage, they will multitask, they will do everything. Postnatally, we all need support. It's not that physically I cannot manage. I can have house help, I can have things ready made. It's all okay. But psychologically, emotionally, when the hormones are again shifting back post delivery, it is a great thing to have support, which means we need to plan it beforehand. If it is our in-laws, then we have to have a discussion that okay, these will be the months I might not be very up to my mark, I might need your support. Parents, they're always supportive, you don't need to say anything. But I also work globally, across the globe, so a lot of times it is just the husband and wife. That time friends become your rock support, and you have to prepare them beforehand. Sometimes, say, COVID times were very difficult times for girls where they were locked and there was nobody to support. Or यहाँ से, like you see, no, in India, like moms would go when they deliver the baby, he would stay for 3-4 months and come back. The international travel was stopped at that time. So completely no human. So that time, while I'm not a big fan of online interactions, but instead of having no support system, community is a great support, which we have now come to realize now that the joint families are breaking up, that we all are social beings. No matter how introvert I might be or a loner kind of a person I might be, we all, in some phases of life, we all need support. And for which lot of communities nowadays are coming together where there is no judgment. It's just pure wholehearted support that we want to give to the other. Find such communities, be a part of them. Like in my, I have a whole group of mothers who are already pregnant right now, those who are trying to conceive, and those who have delivered the babies and the babies are growing up, but they still stay a part of community, helping the mothers to be. Sometimes there are silly things, but I'm getting, oh my God, what do I do? Oh my, then the new mother will be ready to help. Communities are a very strong support. So build your systems. That is what I say. Build your support systems and plan your pregnancy.
Like you said about during pregnancy, women close to high blood pressure, diabetes, or similar. So, how can they safeguard themselves from risk of such diseases? Because it tends to overstay sometimes, and sometimes it goes away after the child is born. What precautions should be taken?
Yeah. Sometimes it goes away, sometimes it stays for life. But more importantly, when it is there, it is also a risk to the mother and baby's life. So, sudden shooting up of the blood pressure, preeclampsia is what it is called. It is a very, very dangerous, it's an emergency situation. So, while we understand hypertension or blood pressure, that these are stress borne conditions. Diabetes, we all know it is a lifestyle condition. So, changes in lifestyle are inevitable. But somebody might have a genetic predisposition, or physically they might have some issues already and they are prone to such conditions of hypertension or diabetes, and which are induced during pregnancy. That is specific what we are talking about. Again, like I said, not only the emotions and the emotional management, but a lot of physical asana practice. So when you're moving your body and in a right way is a thing that you keep in mind, not just crazy go about exercising, but you are also regulating the sugar cycles of the body. Sugar is going into the right places and not, and the insulin resistance is also taken care of along with exercise, the food, the diet. So that both of these together can actually balance the sugar cycles and tremendously reduce the chances of pregnancy induced diabetes. Hypertension, yes, purely stress management and walking in pregnancy. So outside of yoga, while we are talking about yoga, when you are walking and not brisk walking, not running, not jogging, walking, the cardio is taken care of. So the heart health is also regulated by that. So that is, there are certain lifestyle changes that you bring about to avoid these things. And especially for the high BP thing, pranayama works like crazy awesome. So yeah, it's a balance. So what we do when I deal with pregnant women, it's almost a one-to-one interaction kind of a thing where I take a detailed health history and also the history, the genetic history that they might be carrying. So we can see it's not that if my mom or dad had BP, I will have, I may not have. But if my therapist knows about this, she can start working so that the chances of expressing that gene reduces. So we work customized with every woman.
This is a biggest myth breaker that you bought in Mauli. So, I since I'm brought up in a joint family, and there's always this discussion that since your mom had this, so definitely you will pass on this to your unborn child or the child that is going to come. And this is a common discussion. Like people would not even think of solving this issue. But when you said that even if it's there in heredity, it can be solved, I
Can
think
definitely be solved. It can definitely be. See, I get a lot of people what you say. I have it running in my family, so I know I will have it. You are already inviting it. You've opened your doors that I know it is coming. There's something called epigenetics. If you heard of a person called Bruce Lipton, he has worked a lot on that. But that's a recent science thing that we are now, it being exposed to. But yoga is a science of epigenetics, of how you choose which gene to express or not express. Also, therefore, if you have seen pregnant women, everybody will say, oh, read Bhagavad Gita, read certain spiritual texts. See, these are life manuals. We see them in a very religious or a sectarian way, but that's not true. If you are learning Yoga Sutras, for example, it is a very, very precise scientific step by step guide into how to work with the mind, how to evolve in terms of your own higher potential. So read those texts, practice those, and you will not come across these genetic things. So Bhagavad Gita hai, Yoga Sutra hai, and there are certain specific texts also. So that is what we highly recommend. So that to avoid unwanted, unnecessary complications, which could have been avoided and ironed out, but just because you were not aware or just lack of that awareness, you get into undesired states at times.
there are there has been instances where the labor pain starts early, which is to be avoided. But I've also seen instances where even after 9 months, the woman does not feel labor pain. And then they are admitted to hospital because those timelines are passing and it creates risk. So what are the issues which is causing early and also not causing pain at all?
No, they are not issues. That's a natural thing that will depend on person to person, and we have to respect that. It's not a condition to be dealt with. But yes, there are certain acupressure points or certain practices that we do to induce labor, which are a big no-no to learn or practice before you are full term. And therefore, when I said no, 8th month में बहुत सारा बंद कर देते हैं practices. So from 32 weeks to 36th week, a lot of practices are completely dropped from your everyday practice. And then from 36th onwards, they again start because now we want the baby is by 38th week, it will be a full term baby. So you want it. Yes, there will be. So, okay, again, because of this medical, not in a bad way, but yes, we are becoming too commercial in terms of you don't want to wait. So, till 38 to 42 weeks, this is a normal gap where they say, okay, 40 is ideal. If it is 38, it is normal. And if it is 42, it is normal. But somebody hits 40 and then they create a oh my God, let us induce labor. Yeah, at 42, if it still doesn't come, you can induce labor. But wait, I have seen so many girls completely healthy, normal, natural, सब हो रहा है pregnancy में कोई problem नहीं है. Just because they crossed the 40th week mark, the doctors would say that okay, we can wait for 2 weeks, but it is at your own risk. That's a crazy statement. You are not a medical person. You will get shit scared that it's a baby's life at risk. So they go for C-sections for no reason. Whereas they could have waited till 42nd week, which is so normal. Yes, for post 42nd week, it has to be induced, but there are, like I said, there are certain points of acupressure. And there are certain practices like activating the apana vayu. So I don't know how much detail to go in over here, but there are certain prana vayus which activate the downward movement of the body. So there are some mudras, there are some practices, the asanas, the breath practices, which activate the apana vayu. And that would stimulate towards a timely labor. And yet, Namrata, I want to emphasize here that ऐसा नहीं है कि oh ये नहीं किया इसलिए ये हुआ. Every woman is a different individual. Even the soul decides how and when it wants to come about. You can't force these things कि इतने में ही होना चाहिए. Yes, there is a range. Within that range, if you're playing around, it is so normal. We need to stop stigmatizing this thing कि यार इसका तो लेट हो गया, इसका तो जल्दी हो गया. It's okay. It's okay.
So, talking about stigma, Molly, it's such a big stigma because I have one of my friend, and during this casual conversation when we were celebrating his birthday, he said, "I was so lazy that I did not come out of my mother's womb, and doctor had to induce artificial pressure." It's like you're celebrating your 35th birthday and you're still talking.
Still stuck there. Yes. Because that person, while growing up, would have heard it so many times. Maybe from the mother, maybe from the family members that, oh, see, because of you, she had to go through this. Because... Yes, our subconscious mind picks all those when we are children. So that's where, even postnatally, we try and also, even when they are pregnant and they are coming, we also talk about parenting. And parenting, not in terms of ethics and moralities and what discipline. See, that's a very individual centric thing. Every family will have a different way of life. But certain things of how a human mind works. So, for the first 2 years, the baby's conscious mind, which is the biggest filter to keep us safe, is not there. So, whatever you are saying, behaving, doing, it is just taking in. And that becomes that person's truth when they go up. The filters are their lenses through which they live life. And 0 to 8 years, very, very crucial time. If you take care of this time, then you have like cracked the code, which is the most difficult thing. No matter how many parenting books you read, your child will bring up unique challenges. That's why it's not the parenting books that will help you, it is working on yourself. It's never about the child. Actually, because I'm working also in a therapy space, parents come with children for them. therapy for their children, that okay, he or she is hyperactive, ADHD hai, ye hai, wo hai. When a child is below 10 years and coming for therapy, I strongly believe the parents need therapy, not the baby. Baby is just absorbing. It is just so blank slate था ना, आप ही लिख रहे हैं. So change what you are writing and learn how to change what to change. Things will be okay. So prepare is the word.
I would like to know your thoughts on uh, how does emotions impact women during their pregnancy stage after they have baby in their arm, and what all things they can take into consideration to give good emotions or good vibes to the baby.
Like I said, it starts from within. So if I am having a big conflict with my partner, I am fighting, I am not feeling good from within, but I am saying good words to my baby, the baby is not going to take in those words. It is my energy that it will take in, my mental state that it is grasping. So yeah, the key word is take care of yourself, put yourself first. Lot of times when the baby is so vulnerable, it needs all your care, attention, everything. Putting baby first is not a very great idea, because if the mother is not at her best peak, that energy is transferred to the baby. So, anyways, you're not doing so good to the baby while you think you are. Put yourself first, for which, like I told, you need support systems. You can't do ये एक है ना कि I am very independent, उसको निकालना है. We are symbiotic beings. We need support systems, and it is okay to take support. At the same time, like we teach the physiological changes that happen, hormonal changes that happen during pregnancy and post delivery. That the hormones are going to jump, they are going to peak, or they are going to drop drastically. It can affect the emotional states. First step is to accept that it is okay, it will happen. We are humans, and these chemicals are changing our states of being. Fine. But the knowledge that this is happening will help us stay grounded, that okay, this is just a phase, this is not forever, this is going to shift. Now, within this, when I am in this state, what kind of breathing practices I can do to balance out maximum that I can. So, there are tools, there are techniques, just that we have to learn them before the things happen. अब मुझे anger management सीखना है, for example. I have to learn it when I'm not angry. When I am at the peak of my temper, you give me a lecture and I'll blast out and watch it. So don't learn emotional management when you're already on that roller coaster. That's also why in Gurukulams early on, they used to teach this to the children, to the teenagers, so that when they come to that stage of life, they're already prepared for that.
Hmm.
अब हमारा ये है कि ये सब yoga is not for me so much, and then we are doing Zumba, which is keeping us in the beta frequency brainwave state, and then we are a reckless lifestyle, and now suddenly I'm pregnant, I go for yoga, I consult a dietitian, I do this. No, you have to prepare it beforehand. Body cannot just like that switch gears. The brain has to be trained. Otherwise, old patterns will take over. So, emotional state management is a big part of pregnancy, and that is where again I'm saying the chanting part comes in a big way. When you're vocalizing things, when you're working with a certain set of frequencies, it affects your brain states. And that helps you to balance whatever these hormones are creating, that roller coaster. So, yeah, preparation is the key, I guess.
Another another aspect that I have usually heard women talk about is the sleep cycle. So many times they don't get adequate sleep during the night time. They feel sleepy during the day. And in this phase, what role does yoga play? So they get natural cycle of day and night, and they stay happy.
Sleep, especially during the third trimester, uh, drops a bit because nature is preparing the mother to be towards the new phase she is going to enter. When the baby is born, she'll be feeding the baby every 2 hours, which means रात को 3 बार उठना पड़ेगा. Or the brain states what we call the nesting instinct, which are hyper vigilant. कि बेबी को इतना भी कुछ हुआ, the mother will know कि क्या हो गया. So she is not completely shutting her brain even when she is sleeping. That's not an easy thing. And therefore, nature is beautiful. It starts preparing us beforehand. थर्ड ट्राइमेस्टर से ये सब होने लगेगा. एट द सेम टाइम एज द बेबी इज ग्रोइंग, बॉडी में इतना पेल्विक एरिया में भी प्रेशर है, जॉइंट्स में भी स्टिफनेस आ रहा है, तो it's just not comfortable whichever position. Okay, you can't lie on your back, you can't lie on your belly, वो तो गया. अब कितना लेफ्ट साइड से हो गए, then it's all, oh my god, then you go right. And this turning in itself is a task, because especially when we sleep, the muscles are completely relaxed and inactive. So उनको active करो and then shift करो, it takes a toll on the mother a lot of times. Like in the day, I am, no, my muscles are warmed up, I am active, it is still easy. But night time, it becomes difficult. That's why what we tell our clients, there are certain evening, like retiring nighttime practices of some asanas which work on the spine, mainly the spine, and some things which are very relaxing on the brain. A lot of thoughts and emotions and turmoils could be a little peaceful and calmer when they sleep, so that it helps them. Especially some asanas before sleeping help so that the blood circulation is happening, so there is no cramping and all that happens. So suddenly in the middle of the night they want to go and pee, it is a task. Oh my god, to turn, to sit up, to get up from the bed, and you would okay, sit back again, then you get up, then you go, and then nothing happens. You're like, oh my god, it was a false alarm. कितना मेहनत किया and कुछ नहीं हुआ. To be prepared for these things, yeah, there are some night practices, there are some meditations and visualizations. So that is what is not a nighttime thing that you do, but an overall thing to keep your system active, functioning, and a good circulation is facilitated. So these cramping things go less. और जितना body और mind relax हो पाएगा, sleep disturbances उतना कम होएगा. So you can work on the sleep by calming the brain and circulation of good circulation in the muscles.
And how does yoga help to build bond between mother and unborn baby?
Okay. I get a lot of pictures of my students who after birth they see that अरे ये तो वही वाला yoga posture कर रहा है. They click the pictures and send me. No, but that is one part, the physical part, because the mom has been doing. But baby is imbibing everything that the mother is going through, everything. And so, Namrata, it's a moment of joy for me. But I'll just share it with you that a lot of times, because I have been interacting, I am chanting, I'm speaking, teaching. The baby is born and they are coming to me after, say, the baby is already 9 months to 1 year old, a toddler types. And generally, if you see those babies at that age, they don't go to strangers. They are like a bit of scared or shy or something. They hide behind the mom very cutely. They recognize my voice. And so this has happened, and not once, but couple of times. But I'll just share one incident. कि मेरा class चालू था. I was still sitting and conducting the class, and she just knocked and opened. And I just signaled कि हाँ class चालू है अभी, we'll meet in 10 minutes. But the baby sneaked in. And I didn't want to, nobody minded a small baby coming in. वो चुपचाप से आया और मेरी गोदी में बैठ गया. And this was the first time in that baby's life that we were meeting after he was born. Of course, he knew me when he was inside his mom. But babies pick up, babies learn. So if you imagine, like I was still a stranger to the baby, and still there was such amount of bonding. Imagine the bonding that you are asking with the mom. She's her or his primary caregiver. And even while feeding, so when we take breastfeeding sessions and all, this eye to eye contact, the skin to skin contact and bonding is so important. You've heard of kangaroo mother care? When somebody is not, the baby is not doing well, they are given skin to skin touch and they thrive. So mother baby bonding. I'll tell you another story. We encourage Garbha Samvad, so talking to the baby while being pregnant. So one of my students, she used to tell a story every evening, 8 o'clock or some time. Every day, same time, she would tell a story to the baby. Now one day they had some guests and she forgot. She was busy. इतना kicking चालू हुआ. Then she said the story. She was, rubbing her belly, and then the baby was okay. This is the kind of, and not just with mom. They identify their father's voice or whoever is surrounding the mom through the pregnancy. The bonding is because they completely trust us for their survival. They're completely dependent, especially on the mother or whoever is the primary caregiver. There's a very, very deep bonding that happens. Till the baby is 1 year old, it doesn't even know that it is separate from this woman. It feels it is a part of her because it was. For first 9 months, the baby is inside, so both are one. Even when the baby comes out, it doesn't know that okay, now I am a separate being. वो 1 साल के बाद ट्यूबलाइट होता है कि अच्छा ये तो इसको मम्मा कहते हैं. This is somebody separate from me. They feel it as one.
Only what I've observed is many times my friends who are staying abroad, like as a nuclear family, only as a couple. During pregnancy stage, lot of times fathers are absent because of work commitment, dual income becoming single income, pressure increases. And that is what my friends would tell me. Like I've been alone throughout my pregnancy and all. So how does this impact baby?
It does impact. It does impact actually. But it also impacts the fathers. So we should not be very judgmental about them. While they are not being able to be around, they really miss that part. So yeah, being compassionate to the fathers. But the truth is that baby needs both the energies. So okay, the statement might be a little too harsh, but we are in a time and age where single parenting is also becoming very common. And one parent who wants to compensate for both, this is not possible. But ठीक है, मतलब see, one of the parent is missing, some other support system can come in. But human babies, especially like you see some animals, they give birth and they kick the baby and the baby is on. Human babies take time and they need that nurture, they need that masculine and feminine energies. That is when they thrive. I mean, if that is not there, it's not that they'll not grow up, they will grow up. But then you see nowadays the dysfunctional relationships or the kind of generation that we are creating, when they get both the energies, they thrive, they need that. So karo kuch bhi manage karo. But it doesn't matter how much time. It's not that okay, mom is there for 18 hours with the baby and dad is there only for, no, that half an hour is also good enough. A good quality time, not the quantity, where the dad is so deeply connecting and bonding with the baby and not on his cell phone or laptop and still the baby is in his lap and he's feeding. Be 100%. Babies can sense it. And that half an hour is good enough. Yeah, it can be balanced. I have seen the busiest of the people also. It's just the intention here. It's not ever the quantity. But babies need it, and yes, they do. Even this whole concept of at least till 1 year, babies need their mothers or the primary caregiver, whoever it is. It could be mother, it could be father, it could be grandparent, whoever. But they need that. We want to go back to work. We want to come back to shape. We are all modern women, go-getters. But we forget that nature has its own pace and human babies need that support system. हम फटाफट कर लेंगे, बेबीज नहीं करेंगे. Our brains are evolving through millennia, and what they need. Otherwise, then we have dysfunctional families and children going through the kind of depression patients or anxiety and panic attack clients that has teenagers included is going on a crazy rise. My whole practice is now changing in a big way where I am getting younger children in their teens, in their early 20s, who are going through depression and all. Loneliness is a big thing. You need that support and nurture in the childhood to become a robust, strong human being.
So once baby is in arm, at that point in time, what postnatal care that woman should focus on? Because that is where her
Especially
body.
when they are breastfeeding the baby, that's a very, very intimate connection time where there is eye contact, the baby. So you swaddle the baby, right? उसको बांधते हैं अच्छे से कपड़े में.
Hmm.
It is good for the baby.
Hmm.
But when you're breastfeeding, like what you could do, some things, tips I'm saying, that open up the baby. And when it is here on your chest, let it play around, let it feel, let it connect visually, tactile connections. It could depending on the age of the baby, वो कुछ babble करते रहते हैं. They are still not speaking, but the mother can understand the baby का language. वो धीरे धीरे पता चलेगा. Like medically they say, okay, every 2 hours you have to feed. But your baby might be different. There might be a baby who needs it at 1.5 hours, and some babies who might need it at 2 hours and 30 minutes. The mother, the more she spends time, she will know that language of what her child is trying to communicate. So, say suppose you're breastfeeding, or suppose you're making them eat something. So they are a little elder, and you're feeding them ऊपर का कुछ. Be with them. वो मोबाइल पे करते करते मत करो. That is a big thing that I'm seeing in young mothers who are in their late 20s or early 30s. They are hooked onto the device, and also, oh my god, a baby को भी device. तभी खाना खाते हैं babies. तो बॉन्डिंग कहाँ से हो? बॉन्डिंग हो रहा है लेकिन मोबाइल फोन से हो रहा है. तो मदर से बॉन्डिंग करना है या घर वालों से, then stay away from these addictive things and be there. What it could be this way or that way, but the essential thing is be there 100% and don't multitask is the thing. Actually be with the baby when you are with the baby, and this may not happen throughout the day, but थोड़ा टाइम भी हो गया तो बेबी को सेफ फील हो गया, enough. Then you don't want to make a baby who मम्मी 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 वो किसी के पास नहीं जाएगा. No, not that kind of a possessive or attachment style that we're talking about, but that presence of the baby knowing that he or she is going to be there whenever I am in trouble, whenever I need, I am safe. बस ये घुस गया, then your job is done.
And lot of my friends, they got really impressed with Alia Bhatt coming back and doing shooting like 3 to 4 months post her pregnancy. So what would be the ideal time that woman would have to give to her body to come back to a natural, the pre-pregnancy state and help her become a healthy person?
Okay, first, because you gave an example of somebody who is blessed with resources, अगर आलिया भट्ट को जो ट्रीटमेंट मिल रहा था और सपोर्ट सिस्टम मिल रहा था, अगर आपके पास वो है, then think about it. Otherwise, पहले assess कि हमारे पास क्या क्या resources है, क्या क्या support systems है. Secondly, like we have 3 trimesters in pregnancy, the first 3 months, then the second 3 months, and the last 3 months. There are 3 terms post you deliver the baby. So first term, the first 3 months, the second 3 months, and after 9 months of delivering the baby, you are out of the postnatal phase. The body comes back. जो hormonal changes हो रहे थे, they are also now stabilized by now. So if you say about the postnatal period, it is 9 months. But first 3 months are more crucial. That's when the body needs a lot of rest, lot of nurturing practices. After that, you are okay to move out. Also, those first 3 months, baby also needs the mom more. Uske baad, it is okay. It is fine because now, after 3 months, 4 months, ka baby will start relating to the grandparents or their caretakers. वो bonding का जो system है वो शुरू हो जाता है with other people as well. So the baby is safe, the mother is safe. I would say, yeah, 4 months is a good time, but don't overtax yourself. Again, remember, if you are breastfeeding your baby, so the longer you feed, it is good for the baby. So, say a 5 month, 6 month old baby you're breastfeeding, but you're going to work every day and getting super stressed, that stress hormone, that cortisol, is going through your milk into the baby's system. You are feeding stress hormone to your baby. So, yes, you can work, but keep a balance. Don't over stress. Yeah, don't go for a hiking, something where the body goes through a lot of stress because that relaxin hormone is still in the body, because the cortisol will be released when you are stressing. um, Super intensive workouts, that is a thing. Women want to come back to their earlier shape ASAP, and they want to do anything for that, and they want to go into intensive workouts कि pregnancy में नहीं कर सकते थे, अभी तो we will kill it. Don't do that. When you are releasing that stress, you are giving it to the baby through your milk. And some people, some women, I have had such clients who were celebrity people and who wanted to, say, because you are in a fashion industry or that kind of an industry, you want to get back in shape. So when I said that, okay, through your breastfeeding and all, it is going to the baby, they said it is okay. We will not, we'll stop breastfeeding. We will put the baby on formula. But the baby is sensing your energies. It's not only the milk. Then you can't stop staying with the baby at all. So the same parents who would have done that come after 5 years with me, getting the babies that, oh, he or she has ADHD, आप उसको children workshop में ले लो, इसका कुछ करो यार, ये बैठता नहीं है, he is not doing this, she is not doing that. The seed was there. So don't hurry. I mean, there are situations in life where you have to work. ठीक है. If you are blessed and you have resources that you can wait for a little time before you bounce back, it is okay. And having that little chubby body, isn't it very beautiful and graceful to see that motherhood body? You don't always want to be that zero size. Such a stereotype. I mean, it's almost boring. I feel that mother वाला जो body है ना, बहुत सुंदर होता है. It is okay to stay chubby for a while till your hormones and your body is supporting you to rigorously exercise and drop that weight. Yes, you have to, you should, because the whole skeletal system has changed. You need to get it back in place. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि चलो अभी कुछ मत करो, but right time. So I would say 3 months is the first cutoff. If you can, for 6 months, be with your child, be with yourself, and yeah, if your life allows you, then stay more. Enjoy this phase. It is never going to come back. Even if you have another pregnancy and another baby, it is a completely different ball game. Two different children, two different experiences. And a second child with a child at home, another different experience. So live that time of your life. It is precious.
And Molly, so Molly, one more point which has been like a lot of topic of discussion among my girlfriends is pregnancy belly. So many times it stays with the woman. For some women it just goes off. But for my friends for whom it had stayed, it is a point of discomfort for them. For each and every day they get up, they go to work. It's like they become too body conscious is
And
what I.
sometimes it stays for life.
Hmm.
No, this pregnancy belly. So yes, so good you asked that question, because earlier, just the previous question, I was saying that take it slow, take it gentle, does not mean that you don't do what is required to do. So if you're not exercising, properly within those. So see, there is this hormone which holds on to these things till. So in some women it stays for 9 to 12 months. Some lucky women will have it for 18 months. But वो कब जाएगा पता नहीं. It may go off in 9 months, 12 months. Before that, you have to start exercising so that you. तब अगर हो गया ना shed pregnancy belly तो हो जाएगा. उसके बाद it becomes very stubborn, very 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 stubborn. Then you have to be pregnant again, maybe to get that hormone back and then work on the pregnancy belly. But okay, now earlier you had asked that how the baby is affected, the unborn baby is affected, or the newborn baby is affected by the parent and their emotional states. You brought up this topic of being body conscious. हम बच्चों को भी a small, very very small toddler, tiny little baby, मजाक से कहते हैं गोलू, लड्डू. We are saying it with all love, but sometimes we also say it in sarcasm. That is the seed of body consciousness. Or the baby is running around happily and we say, oh, shame, shame, where are your clothes? We are instilling a belief that this beautiful body, this sacred body that we have been gifted with, it is something to be shameful about. This seed stays, and when the child grows up, and when if one tire is more here or there, they feel conscious, they feel less confident, they feel bad about their body, they feel shameful. ये सब बचपन में इंस्टिल हुआ है. What is to be conscious about this? This is just a cover, no? Like if I see Namrata, she's so much more than just the body cover. Why does she need whoever? And I'm not saying it to you, but anybody, that we need to be healthy, we need to be fit, we need to be happy. No option for that. But if you're doing everything right, if you're fitter, like I might look sometimes on the heavier side, but believe me, the young girls who come here, I am fitter than them. I am happier than them. I'm emotionally more stable than them. तो ठीक है यार, एक आध टायर इधर उधर, be okay with that. That's a body consciousness is why all this markets are sustaining, no? कि अरे मौली, if you are fat, you need to be thin. I get clients who are super thin and they feel so conscious that, ma'am, how do I put on some fat? I am looking very flat. Somebody is darker, they want a fairness cream. Somebody is too fair, they want to do a tanning. ये बहुत हो गया body consciousness. We are so much more than that. What we talked about today, if you could nurture a human being who is just gifted to you in your lap, that's so much more awesome than looking a certain way or fitting in a certain size. तो ये ना बॉडी कॉन्शियसनेस का झमेला भी खत्म करना चाहिए. बट एट द सेम टाइम यस, एक्सरसाइज एक्सरसाइज. इट्स नॉट दैट चलो अभी आई डोंट वरी अबाउट द टायर, लेट द प्रेगनेंसी बेली बी. नो, work on it at the right time and it will go.
So, I thoroughly enjoyed today's conversation. You brought in so many deep insights. And thing that I connected is mother's emotion gets passed on, whether it's during pregnancy, post-pregnancy, whether you're breastfeeding, not breastfeeding, anything, but it just gets passed on and babies are absorbing it. I think this is like, even if this comes like a quote and we keep this in our mind, it's also going to help us change our behavior to a greater extent.
Mother is the first guru. I mean, don't take pressure about it, be happy about it. But she is the first teacher, the first guru. Yes. That's a blessing. We all women are blessed with that.
Yes. So, and Molly, I would say the work that you're doing with the women during their pregnancy, postnatal, I think it's going to have a generational impact. It's not only that women are becoming healthier, happier, but they're also bringing up kids who are much healthier. And if they become much more happier in their day-to-day dealings with the world around them, I think we have a better generation ahead of us.
That's the whole vision and mission behind Damru. Damru is the center that I operate from. And yeah, that's our mission, to create a bigger impact on the generations to come. So being keeping them rooted to their own culture, their own roots, and creating resilient beings. This is the easiest population, Namrata, to work with. जितने बड़े होते हैं ना, difficult होते जाते हैं. Even the best cakewalk. So yeah, building the nation one individual at a time.
I would say thank you, Molly. Thank you for coming today and doing this session. I would say I do not have words to say thank you to you because the level of insights that you shared, it's the treasure knowledge which is not known to a wider section of the society. And you are doing a great work by sharing this knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you, and I hope this spreads to more people. Like you said, yes, we need more awareness so people could take advantage of these. There's a lot of ancient wisdom that comes also through this. So, yeah, thank you.